Anita.
Here's
Oh.
Lewis.
Absolutely, that's what I'll do.
Morning, Anita.
Morning. My name is Chris Caius. I'm president of the King County Forest Preserve, and I'm calling this meeting to order on Tuesday, December 10th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Please. Oh, you spite into the chocolate? Sorry.
Alan? She's here. Yep, thanks. Bates? Bates here. Berman?
Berman is here.
Doherty?
Here.
Garcia? Gripe? Gums?
Comes here.
Iqbal? Saw him. Juby?
Juby here.
Caius?
Guys present.
Leonard?
Leonard here.
Lewis?
Lewis here.
Linder?
Linder here.
Molina?
Present.
Genesis?
Hannes is here.
Roth?
Roth here.
Sanchez?
Sanchez present.
Strathman?
Strathman present remote.
Surges? Tarver?
Tarver's here.
Tepe? Williams?
Williams here.
Young?
Here.
Quorum?
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a quorum?
Yes.
Oh. We have a quorum. Perfect. Thank you. Then may I have, I will entertain a motion to, or a request for unanimous consent to allow Myrna, Cheryl, Jarrett, and Michelle to participate online for the explained reasons. And unless there's an objection, they will also be able to participate in the meeting as board members. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief Berger, would you
Doherty. You
lead
have
us?
to approve Doherty too.
As well.
No.
Oh, and Doherty. I apologize. Doherty, no objections.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you, Chief. Right. All right, then I understand we have some public comment this morning. I have on the list to begin with Kim Haig. Kimberly Haig. We have, let's see, we got our time, our unofficial timer over there, our timer of 3 minutes. Kim.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kimberly Haig for N545 Citation Lane, Elburn. I am the co-steward, for those of you who don't know me, I'm the co-steward with Greg Knipp at Johnson's Mound Forest Preserve. And we're having our 100th year celebration there next year, yay. I also have been on the last 2 referendum committees, and I'm just so glad this one passed as well. Glad that 59% of our voters voted for it. I'm just here to thank you all for your leadership as a board, with especially with President Caius leading the board. I'm thanking you for the following things. For and all of you and President Caius have been very supportive of the mission of the Forest Preserve. I want to thank you for hiring Ben Haberther as the director and his overriding his overriding mission of conservation. He's a straightforward and forthright person. He never makes promises he can't keep. I really appreciate that. We as volunteers appreciate that. I appreciate Pat Chess, whose expertise never fails to impress me. For Rob Clee for his unfailing dedication to us. Lori Matanchuk for her great job in community affairs. The education staff and the restoration staff and the operations staff with Jeremy now at the helm, doing a great job. I also want to give a big shout out to Jason Johnson, who is basically my boss as a volunteer. He has been incredibly supportive to us. He always answers my innumerable questions and emails and texts and phone calls, which can be annoying, but he's very gracious. So to circle back, I also wanted to say too, I'm so glad with Ben is at the helm with conservation. I'm also president of Wild Ones of Kane County. In case you don't know what that is, we support native plants, sustainable agriculture, restoration. And so I'm so pleased in all the meetings I went to that Ben has talked about what we're going to do in the future with the forest preserve. I mean, it goes along with my heart. It also goes along with the mission of Wild Ones of maintaining the land that we have, putting more land into natural habitat, because our natural habitat has been declining everywhere because of strip malls and roads, which of course we all like, but we really need to maintain the habitat. So I just really appreciate the mission and the forward thinking. So to circle back, thank you and the board for doing all this. We as volunteers, and I've been volunteering for the Forest Preserve for 16 years now. Time flies. So anyway, thank you so much for the supporting. We volunteers greatly appreciate it. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Kim. Next, Sandy Kazmarski.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sandy Kazmarski. I live in Elburn, and I'm here this morning to ask you to support Chris Kaios in his reelection bid for Forest Preserve District President. I've known Mr. Kaios for a number of years, and I'm always impressed with his passion and commitment to conservation issues. I started out a few years ago at the Forest Preserve District of DuPage County, many more years than I care to remember. But I worked closely with the president at that time, and I know how important it is for someone to respect the work that the staff does and also respect their commitment to the work that they do every day when they're out in the forest preserves. I currently work for a statewide conservation organization, and we work closely with agencies like Forest Preserve Districts and other agencies as well in supporting and promoting conservation and environmental efforts. And Chris Kaios has proven to be a very effective leader in these areas. As I'm sure you're aware, the folks in Kane County, we really love our natural resources here, and we've supported numerous referenda over the last 20 years, including the most recent one as well, in supporting the Forest Preserve District referenda to preserve our open spaces for recreation, education, and a few other things like clean air and clean water. We all enjoy our healthy lifestyles here in Kane County because of it. So I ask you to support Chris Kaios as Forest Preserve District President and allow him to continue with all the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Next, Jeff Hedrick.
Good morning. My name's Jeff Hedrick, and I'm the steward at Lake Run Forest Reserve. I live at 538 Prairie Ridge Lane in North Aurora. Everything Kim said. So first, excuse my appearance. I'm dressed in my workday finest because from here I'll be leaving with Kim to go be at our workday out at Lake Run, where I'll be joining our regular volunteers. And at the end of today, we should top 4,000 volunteer hours just at Lake Run. So I'm excited to celebrate that with my group today because I know they're proud of the work that they do. I'm here today to address a rumor that we volunteer stewards may be a little bit demanding and difficult. And I can tell you that it is true. It's true because we're committed, we're passionate about the work we do and the efforts that we undertake to restore the district's natural areas. Our expectations and our needs are many. It's from equipment, training, education, guidance that are just a few, and I'm happy to report that the support that we've received has only continued to increase over the last couple of years. Creating a couple examples of creating and hiring a volunteer liaison position that guaranteed the tools, supplies, support, and education was available to us. Important safety training was implemented
to include mandatory now biannual refresher training in chainsaw and brush saw use. Plus, I think what we believe is an essential bleeding control component. The district trusts us and puts us out into the woods with some equipment that can be very, very dangerous. And putting our safety at the forefront has been something that's just increased over the last couple of years. Even though nobody likes to go to training, nobody likes to sit in the classroom, you have to realize quickly that it's important. Those volunteers all need to be protected and safe. The staff also spearheaded a well-received reciprocating saw training and certification. That's the first in the area. It's been unbelievably well-received and has greatly improved our efficiency. And lastly, we're all excited to see how any referendum monies may be directed in some ways to support our efforts. People volunteer for a variety of reasons. But they stop volunteering when they believe that their efforts are neither valued, appreciated, nor recognized. I can confidently say that I feel the district has supported us immensely and believes that we are collaborators in supporting and fulfilling the district's mission. Needless to say, I like the way things are going. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Then I have Sue Sanders.
Good morning, Forest Preserve Board. My name is Sue Sanders. I live in Kane County and have lived here for 40 years. I want to take a moment to thank your committee for all the hard work you have put into promoting the recent referendum, ensuring its passage. The accomplishments achieved under the leadership of Chris Kyos, along with the collective efforts of the entire board, have been greatly appreciated by many in our community. Growing up in Chicago, I was fortunate to live in an area surrounded by forest preserve on 3 sides. This early exposure instilled in me the deep appreciation for the value of preserving open spaces. During the COVID-19 pandemic, your decision to keep the forest preserves open was a lifeline for many. The opportunities to safely walk with friends in open outdoor spaces provided a much-needed boost to mental health during those challenging times. As growth and development have expanded into King County, Chris Kyos and the committee have been vigilant in their efforts to preserve and expand green spaces. Thanks to these efforts, several hundred acres have been added to the county's land inventory, which now totals over 23,000 acres. At the time, you've worked to manage invasive species in our forests, preserves, and prairies, probably thanks to a lot of you volunteers. Notable projects like the remodeling of the Settlers Hill Golf Course for community use and the preparation of the Burlington Forest Preserve for buffalo. That's something I learned recently, and that's really something that's wonderful. Critical for creating habitats for grassland, insects, birds, and small mammals. Highlight your forward-thinking approach to conservation. All of this has been accomplished with being fiscally responsible in mind, which we know is no small feat. Once again, I want to extend a heartfelt thanks to Chris and the entire committee and hope you consider voting for Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Steve Briezowitz.
Hi, Steve Briezowitz. I'm a St. Charles resident and a frequent Forest Preserve user. And I feel like going to sound like a little bit of a broken record here, but I really appreciate all this committee does. It's probably the best run committee in the Kane County government, is from my outside uninformed opinion. But and I think part of that is Chris Kyos is president. I'm here to support him for his reelection as president of the Forest Preserve. I don't think there's much more that I can add, which everybody else has said. Thank you for your time. Appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thanks, Steve. And Gary Swick.
Good morning, everyone. I'm
Speak right into the microphone. so
I'm
they
a
can hear you
very
online. There
proud.
you go.
Oh,
There you
good
go.
morning.
Thank you.
I'm a very proud Kane County resident. I reside in Elgin. I'm here today representing myself and Friends of the Fox River. And I have a long professional and personal relationship with the Forest Preserve District, done many projects. With Mary Alice, I was a co-steward at Burnage Forest Preserve, but way back, like I go way back to like the Jack Cook, John Doerr era. And it's just been a really wonderful partner. And a lot of great things have come out of that, from Raceway Woods to the Schweitzer Environmental Center, and now the used to be Carpentersville Dam. Oh yeah. So that was huge. And then just, while it was going on, we had to work together, with muscles and tires, et cetera. But I'm here today, as all the other speakers, to strongly encourage you to continue having Chris Caius as the commission president. When I first came here, Kane County was a little bit behind, like McHenry County Conservation District. What I saw was most of the push was on passive recreation and making sure every site had a backstop and a picnic shelter. And we've really come a long way. And all of northeastern Illinois really is an international model for ecological restoration. And that takes great leadership. And I applaud you all for your aggressive land acquisitions and really smart management of the areas. Chris, I've developed a relationship with Chris, and so I can speak personally, professionally, of his really high integrity. He's everywhere, and that's really important, that he knows the properties. And I see him at a variety of places, not just on my home turf. He's really good communicator, easy to get along with, good character, very welcoming, and he's an entomologist, and that really is important. So, in his position, you need a lot of different skills, but one of them being very observant and tuned into the land really is essential. So I see him as a really great candidate, and I don't know why there'd be any reason why you wouldn't want to. I think it's very important to carry on with people that have experience and have developed those relationships. So as long as he's vital, I think you ought to, I encourage you to give him your vote. He has a lot of experience, and that's highly valuable. Thank you for all the work you do and the important decisions that you make.
Peace out. Peace out. Thanks, Gary. Last on the list I have is Luann Lewandowski.
Good morning. My name is Luann Lewandowski, and I'm the administrative coordinator of Friends of the Fox River. I adore Chris Caius. I'd be here for him, but I am here on behalf of my friend June Keebler, who is ill and cannot be here today. And she demanded to speak about Chris Caius. I'd like to read her speech, please. To the Honorable Kane County Forest Preserve Board, my name is June Keebler, and I reside at 17 North 425 Ranch Road in Dundee. I am currently co-steward of Raceway Woods, coordinator of Dundee Township Natural Area Volunteers, and a founder and board member of Friends of Dundee Natural Areas. I enthusiastically support the re-election of Chris Caius for president of our Kane County Forest Preserve Board. Our forest preserves have made many gains since Mr. Caius became board president, and the greatest of these accomplishments is the drafting and passing of the referendum to increase the annual land acquisition funds, as well as increasing the funds for the support of restoring and managing our valuable natural areas. Mr. Caius is a dedicated and relentless public servant. Yes, he shows up. Mr. Caius reports regularly at village and township boards in his district to keep these boards informed of what our forest preserves are accomplishing. He attends other citizen group meetings to be informed about the many areas of interest among his constituents. Mr. Caius never fails to take the time to listen and talk with the citizens in his district. We are heard. And it is my experience that Mr. Caius seeks to resolve, find answers, and act on issues of our concern. Mr. Caius has proven to be an excellent Forest Preserve president, and I sincerely hope you will vote to keep Mr. Caius as our president. Thank you.
Thank you. I promise I didn't give him my stump speech. Okay, I think that's all we have for public comment today. Great, thank you. Thank you for attending. As per the rules, we do not respond to them, but thank you for your comments. They will be on record. Okay. Then moving on, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from November 12th, 2024, full commission, and truth in taxation hearing, November 12th, 2024.
Roth would request we do unanimous consent.
Second.
Okay, there, Mr. Roth has requested unanimous consent for the presentation and approval of the minutes from November 12th, 2024, full commission and truth in taxation hearing, November 12th, 2024. Is there any objections or any changes?
No, consent.
Hearing none and seeing none, they are adopted. Thank you very much. Then on to the next. May I have a motion and a second to approve the bills and commissioners per diem for November 2024? Moved by
Linder moves approval.
Linder, second by
Alan?
Bates. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Allen,
Alan, aye.
Bates, yes.
Berman,
Berman, yes.
Doherty,
Doherty, aye.
Garcia, Grape,
Yes.
Thumbs, Iqbal,
Claude, yes.
Juby,
Ruby, aye.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Yes.
Genesis,
Genesis, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Muted.
they're all mute. Sanchez, Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Pepe,
Zepi, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Gums. It's approved.
He's on, but muted.
Yeah. All right. It's approved.
Yeah, everybody. Okay. One last chance, Michelle. All righty. Motion
Thumbs, yes.
passes. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Mr.
Then-
President,
Yes, sir.
was that our first vote of the new board members?
I believe so. The rest were unanimous.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah.
Solid work.
Let's celebrate.
That's
All right, good. For presentations, I'll turn that over to our Executive Director, Ben Habither.
Yes, so it's my honor to introduce your championship Kane County Cougars. I think you all know that the Cougars play in the stadium that the Forest Preserve District owns, Northwestern
come.
Medicine Field. And they went 7-0 to win their championship. Dr. Bob Froelich's here to tell us more about how that went.
All right,
Thank you, Ben.
welcome.
Thank you, Ben, very much. And
Bob.
I'm here with my esteemed colleagues, Ozzy and Annie, the best mascots there are. Person hiding in the corner is Claire Jacoby. Claire is the head of all public relations and all promotions for the Cougars and does a great job. Thank you. This is heavier than it looks, so be impressed with those guys that hold this on the field for like 25 minutes. I was losing my arms back there. Anyway, I know it's old news that we won the championship, but there's something very different about this championship and very special about it that I just wanted to take a minute or so to share with you. Here's what's different about it. It's the 10th championship for this franchise. For many of you that don't realize, this franchise didn't begin in Kane County. It began in 1888 in Decatur, Illinois. And in 1888, it started out as the Decatur Commodores. Then in 1975, it relocated to Wausau, Wisconsin as the Wausau Timbers. Then it came here to the Great Kane County in 1991. But this will be the 10th league championship that we have won as a franchise. It'll be the third one that we've won here in Kane County. We won the championship in 2001. We won the championship in 2014. And now we won the championship in 2024. But it's a very different championship. And let me tell you why it's different. This is sort of like the Stanley Cup. You don't get to keep it forever. You get to keep it as long as you're champion. So just like the Stanley Cup, this thing has a life of its own. It's going to go all around the community to different community events. It's going to be in schools. It's going to be at senior citizen centers because we only get it for a year until the next champion is crowned, if that champion isn't us repeating, which we hope it is. But anyway, that's another topic for another time. But in true tradition of the Stanley Cup, when you have a championship cup, you've got to figure out where's it going to go to first. And so it didn't take us long to figure out where it was going to first. Where it was going to first was the Kane County Forest Reserve meeting. We would not have this trophy. There would not be baseball in Kane County if it weren't for all of you. The understanding, the commitment, the cooperation that this entire board has shown the Kane County Cougars is unprecedented, and this would have never happened without you. I don't think many people realize that there are 166 minor league baseball teams. 120 are affiliated with an individual major league team. There are 46 teams like us that are part of the major league partner league system, but 166 minor league baseball teams. And we're blessed to have one of them right here. But guess what? Only one has a stadium that's owned by a forest reserve in the entire United States of America. It creates a unique set of obstacles, a unique set of challenges, unlike anyone faces anywhere. And I think that sometimes the community forgets the hard job that you all have of balancing the fiduciary responsibility you all have as Forest Reserve commissioners, yet at the same time looking at the economic side of baseball and what baseball means to the community. And I wanted the first stop of this trophy to be to the most important stop, the stop that we wouldn't have this trophy if it weren't for the cooperation and support that this board has shown the Kane County Cougars. And so on behalf of all of our players, on behalf of our mascots, our staff, most importantly, our fans and your voters, we can't thank you enough. And we wanted this to be the very first stop. Thank you so much.
With the board in the back.
In and with part of the 46 floor out.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
We didn't know it was right.
Thank you. Just love the way you guys did that. I just can't believe it. That you got all the money and everything.
Okay.
Otherwise.
Darn, let's do more fun stuff like that. Now on to the more difficult things. May I have a presentation approval of the fiscal year annual comprehensive financial report? Oh, we'll have a presentation, excuse me. Not may I have. We'll have a presentation and approval of the fiscal year 2023-2024 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, AFCR, by Director of Finance Dave Petchke, or in this case, someone else, because you're awfully short. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Speak right into the microphone, please.
Good morning. Well, I have a tough act to follow. I'm not sure what the
Yeah, really.
auditor mascot would look like, but I have some visuals. So thank you for having me this morning. My name is Jamie Wilkie. I'm one of the audit partners with Lauterbach and Amen, the district's auditor. So this morning, we're here to present the results of the most recent audit for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024. And I certainly want to start this morning by thanking the district team, in particular, the finance department. I know we have Dave and Melissa sitting out in the audience. They really do an excellent job preparing for the audit each year. We had no adjusting journal entries that were material in nature as part of our testing. We work with hundreds of other units of government, and I can tell you that is not the norm when we typically come in. So truly, they are fully prepared and have fully adjusted the books for us each year that we come in. So I certainly want to give them kudos this morning for all of their hard work. So thank you. I have added a lot of pages to your packet this morning. We have about 135 pages in the annual audit. My goal this morning is to provide some key page number references and give some high-level overview of the results for the year. And then certainly happy to open it up for any questions that you all might have as well. We'll start on page 9 of the document, which provides a copy of the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is an annual award presented by the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA. This award program is really deemed the highest level financial reporting that any unit of government can undertake each year. So there is a fairly extensive checklist and requirements to be part of this program. The district did in fact earn that award for last year's audit, and we will again be submitting this year's audit to that program, obviously anticipating receipt of the award for the 2024 financials as well. So again, want to give kudos to the staff. There's quite a bit of additional information, which I'll point out a couple of those sections as we go through, that is provided from a transparency standpoint in the annual audit that folks who don't participate in the program do not disclose in their annual audits. So again, kudos to the district. Starting then on page 12 of the document, you'll find the independent auditor's report, or our opinion. We have issued what we call an unmodified or clean audit opinion. That is the highest level opinion that any auditor can issue each year. And what that means is the financial statements as presented are materially correct. You'll see discussion over those few pages with regards to management responsibilities as well as internal controls. So each year we are also required not only to confirm that the numbers themselves are materially correct, but to also take a look at the overall internal control environment for the district. So we are looking at things like policies, procedures, segregation of duties, making sure all of those I's are dotted, T's are crossed as it relates to the internal control environment. And I'm happy to report we had no findings or exceptions related to our detailed testing. So truly the cleanest opinion the district can receive each year. Beginning then on page 18 of the document, you'll find a section labeled Management's Discussion and Analysis, or MD&A. As I indicated, there are 135 pages to attempt to digest in this report. I would encourage you to take a look at pages 18 through 28. This section really is deemed the executive summary to the audit each year. So 11 pages instead of 135 to digest. And I just want to point out a couple of high-level financial results that you'll see discussed within this section of the document as you have more time to read in detail. You will see charts and graphs provided that prepare comparable financial information to the prior year. There was an overall increase in equity, or the value of the district, to the tune of about 3.5% during the fiscal year. Much of that is coming from a few key areas. Again, as you have some time to review in more detail, Continued capital asset investment. So there were just over 125 land acres, plus obviously other capital related components that were added to the balance sheet for the district during the year. If you take a look at the long-term debt section within this part of the report, you'll see that $13 million was paid down as well on outstanding long-term debt. So anytime we have assets being added and debt being paid off, that is where we get that bump to equity or the value of the district each year. I also wanted to point out the strong performance of the district's IMRF pension obligation. And I'll turn your attention to pages 77 and 78 of the report so we can take a look at that in just a bit more detail. Page 77 and 78 provides detailed analysis of the district's IMRF pension obligation. For most governments, this is typically a significant liability on the books each year. But if we take a look at page 78 in the far right column, you'll see the most recent IMRF results for the year. And towards the bottom of the page on page 78, you'll see a percent funded. This represents the district's total liability for IMRF, less the assets you already have set aside in the plan. And you'll see that that jumped from about 84.8% funded to 94.7% funded. So about a 10% increase in the last year. Current state statute requires that you are 90% funded by the year 2040. So the district is well on its way to meeting that pension obligation, and that strong performance also certainly is reflected in the increase we're seeing this year as well. We'll flip all the way to page 108 of the document, and this section will take you all the way through the last page of the report. I always point it out because quite frankly, most people don't get this far in our annual audit, but I think there's a wealth of information at the back of the report that I certainly want to point out this morning. So beginning on page 108, you'll find a section labeled statistical section, excuse me. This is one of the key sections of the award program that I mentioned. There is a wealth of historical information that you'll see in these schedules, starting with financial results for the last 10 fiscal years. As you continue through those pages, you'll see historical information related to property taxes, so rates, EAV. Continuing on, you'll find long-term debt disclosure information for the last 10 fiscal years. And then the last several schedules cover things like operating indicators for the district. So I won't go through these in detail this morning, but certainly like to point them out to our boards and commissions, just to have some of that historical context for the district. That's really a wealth of information, again, at the back of the report. So that kind of wraps up my presentation this morning. We do have a couple of new accounting standards that we provided commentary on to the staff in our management letter. The Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or GASB, is our standard setting authority. They have been very active in the last decade coming up with new standards to adhere to. So we do have 2 more coming down the pipeline that we will be working with Dave and his staff to ensure that those are appropriately implemented. So happy to open it up for any questions this morning. Otherwise, just wanted to reiterate the clean opinion and no findings.
Great. Nice to have you. Thanks for the presentation. Very clear. Thanks. Any questions or comments for Jamie this morning? Mr. Gripe.
Thank you again for your presentation. I'm curious, the 100% funding, which we're well on our way to, there's a statutory requirement for that apparently, but when would you recommend that we be at 100%?
So I want to clarify, statute says 90% funded,
90,
not
okay.
100. And the point of that is the IMRF plan is not going away. So I would argue there's probably never a need to be fully at 100% funded because that's really for a single point in time. So the minute the district hires a new employee or somebody retires early, that liability is kind of a continual moving target. Now, you guys are very well funded. You're, like I said, you've gone up 10% this year. That's great. It means it reduces the liability that you have to put on the books each year.
Thank you.
Super. We need a mascot to cheer. You were saying The
Yes, I
mascot,
know.
This is like having the trophy, right?
I said 20 years of presenting audits. I've never followed mascots, so this was a first for me this morning.
Well, and we got a good report too. We passed, so that's great. Thank you very much for. the
Maybe
presentation.
pom-poms. I'll bring pom-poms. How's that?
Okay. Well, I'm all for yeah, fun stuff that show just how grateful and how happy we are and the accomplishments that we do. So great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Okay. Okay, then I will entertain a motion to place this report on file.
Roth would request.
By Roth,
Linder second.
Linder second. Roll call, or all in favor? Does that work?
Aye.
All opposed? Speed things up here a little bit. Thank you very much. On to the executive. May I have a motion and a second to present and potentially approve FTR 2412-3130, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Kane and the Forest Preserve District of Kane County for the conveyance of Stearns Road Greenway parcels. Moved by Berman, second by
Roth.
And we have Director of Planning and Land Protection, Jennifer Rooks Lopez.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So in 2000, the district and the county entered into an IGA for the realignment of Stearns Road, Dunham Road, and Route 25. That agreement and the following agreements created various greenway parcels that you see on the screen just a second ago, as well as a pedestrian bridge that crosses the Fox River at Stearns Road. In that agreement, those parcels were eventually to be conveyed to the district after the county completed some improvements. So the improvements on those parcels would include trails, parking lot, gates, and some general restoration. The county has completed those improvements and are looking to turn those parcels over to the district at this time. Due to the age of those improvements, the county has set aside an allowance of just over $500,000 for the district. So if there are any improvements that we need to do beyond what they've already put in, we would have that cash available to do that. Additionally, in addition to the financial responsibility of maintaining those parcels in the future to our standards, there is a 50-50 cost share for if there are any major structural improvements that need to be done to Stearns Road Bridge, as well as the Brewster Creek stormwater management area. So at this time, the district is seeking approval to go ahead and convey those parcels from the county to the district.
Any questions for Jennifer? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call, please.
Allen,
Aye.
Bates,
yes.
Berman,
Yes.
Doherty,
Aye.
yeah. Garcia, yes. Grape,
Yes.
Combs, Iqbal,
Iqbal, yes.
Juby,
aye.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Genesis,
Genesis, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Carver,
Tarver, yes.
Pepe,
Zepi, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Gums,
Michelle, last call.
approved.
All right, motion passes. Motion passes. Then may I have, excuse me, I guess not. But that was short for business, wasn't it? That's it. Man, this is like the shortest one. Now we get to this really serious stuff. Is there any new business? Okay, then on to the election of the president. May I have a motion to nominate Executive Director Ben Habather to be the temporary chair for the conduction of the election? Moved by Berman,
Roth seconds.
Roth seconds. Roll call vote, or can we just do that? Just,
You should do this on a roll call,
Uh,
but nominations will just take a motion and a second.
okay, so roll call then.
Allen,
Aye.
Bates,
Yes.
Berman,
yes.
Doherty,
Aye.
Garcia, yes. Grape,
Yes.
Gums, Iqbal,
Well, yes.
Juby,
aye.
Caius,
Yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Genesis,
Genesis, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Sturgis,
Sturgis, yes.
Tarver,
Tarver, yes.
Tepe,
Epi, yes.
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Spruce.
Motion passes. Excuse me. Oh, it's nice, cool, fresh air. Mr. Habather, the
Okay.
floor is yours.
Thank you, President Caius, this temporary authority. I'll call for nominations here in a moment, but just wanted to go over a couple notes, especially for our new commissioners. Per our organizational ordinance, the president shall be elected by the members of the commission for a period of 2 years. Votes on all nominated candidates shall be taken by roll call successively until a majority of votes is reached in favor of one of the nominated candidates. Gabby's going to keep the tally with Attorney Hodge. We'll have the secondary tally. We have full attendance with our online members right now, which is 23 because of the vacated seat by Miss Silva. So a vote of 12 constitutes a majority. The newly elected president or re-elected president shall preside over the balance of the meeting in which he or she is elected. So that's our ordinance. And at this time, I open the floor for nominations.
Bates nominates Chris Caius.
Iqbal nominates Bill Leonard.
Okay, do we have a
You need a second. on
second
the
for
first nomination.
Chris Caius?
Second, Caius. Berman.
We have Mavis Bates and Dale Berman. Mr. Iqbal,
Bill Leonard.
Bill Leonard,
Williams will second.
Rick Williams, second. Is there any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none. We have Commissioner Bill Leonard, President Chris Caius nominated. Mr. Caius, would you like to go first with any
The
words
first,
on the
first
nomination?
nominated.
Yes,
So words?
yes, sir.
This is the stump speech? Okay,
Sir.
great. Okay, well,
He's not gonna
there's
get
been
it.
some. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is unlimited, sorry. Or is it? You're the chair now.
30 seconds.
Is there a time limit on the speech?
I don't think so.
We don't have that in our general
Okay.
ordinance, but
Oh, you poor things, you.
typically 3
Sorry.
minutes, just like the public.
Because this is my last one, it's going to be long.
Oh, we're out. You're welcome.
Might be too late. We don't. During my tenure, hi, I'm Chris Caius. During my tenure as Forest Reserve President, we have accomplished a lot of things. Excuse me. A heckler. First of all, we started with a small thing like the completing the ERI, the early retirement incentive, which allowed us to hire 4 more staff members approximately, and to hire our current excellent executive staff without adding any new taxes. Very responsible. We survived the pandemic, which was no mean thing. And we stayed open. We're actually the only place that we could go, including other forest reserves during the first part of the pandemic. We significantly added to our land inventory. We're now over 23,800 acres. I think someone mentioned that in there. We finally we removed the Carpentersville Dam, which improved the water quality of the Fox River. We successfully started construction of a wetland mitigation bank at Muirhead Springs, which brought very interesting visitors to us, the whooping cranes, for the first time in a number of years. And about 150 or so other species of wetland birds to preserve. And this will potentially bring millions of dollars of revenue beginning in the very near future and eventually allow for the conversion of hundreds more acres in the long distance in the future. We successfully completed the remodeling of Settlers Hill Golf Course and are currently transitioning to our golf management model, which is potentially more profitable for the Forest Reserve and gives us more control over the quality that we offer. We currently have a good relationship with the baseball team and have made sure that the remainder of the stadium remodeling bond debt has been collected from the owner. And thanks to Dr. Bob, he's not here anymore, but thanks to him. We established an effective Forest Reserve Foundation, which was critical to raise funding for the preliminary work to ensure the referendum passed and will continue to raise contributions for many important ancillary projects in the future. And that's a big shout out to past board members, Mike Kenyon and Becky Gillum for doing that, for being our representatives on that and getting that set up. And of course, staff, very important. Most importantly, we did pass the referendum, which will stabilize forest preserve funding for the foreseeable future. And that's a big deal. It's the first time in 100 years we can have steady flow of income. And by the way, it was not a given. It required many hours of planning, hard work from volunteers, board members, you here, and past and present, and the Conservation Foundation, and of course, our staff again. We now will be able to convert more farmland to prairie faster, consistently acquire more ecologically significant land, better maintain our current assets, plan new programs and capital projects, adequately compensate our wonderful staff, and hopefully add staff to new and critical positions as we grow. Internally, we have completed operations efficiency studies and brought staff up to full strength for the first time in 3 years. Even with these accomplishments, I know we made over the past 4 years, it seems like it always moves too slowly. Everything seems to move slow. So my thought is that it's like we're dealing with history here, and history is an arc, and we're just trying to bend the arc of history. So that's what we're doing as we work as a group going forward. But again, we are always planning ahead, and I'm proud to say I have served as president as we lay the groundwork for the successful centennial celebration next year, and to bring bison back to Kane County, both scheduled for next year. I firmly believe, as a single board member myself, in our mission statement, and I can't read it too often, which is to acquire, hold, and maintain lands within Kane County that contribute to the conservation of natural and historic resources, habitats, flora, and fauna, and to restore, restock, protect, preserve such lands for the environmental education, recreation, pleasure, and well-being of all its citizens. As far as being the president, I think the best advice I ever got, and I've said this a number of times, you've probably heard it before, the best advice I think I ever got was from IAPD, the Illinois Associated Park District President and CEO, Peter Murphy, and I'll just paraphrase it. As president, you are not here to pick out the paint chips or impose your personal biases on the executive director or staff. You are there to get a consensus from the board and make sure that it is communicated to the executive director and that he or she knows what that goal is so that the staff can get it done. And that, for the past 4 years, is what I believe I have done. During the past 4 years, each and every board member has been welcome to contribute at each and every meeting. In the end, every decision has been made with the input from every board member, every member of the entire board. I personally don't view the Forest Preserve presidency as just a figurehead position. I think it is a working position. Even before I was elected, I personally visited all 70 plus, and we have a few more now, Kane County Forest Preserve properties. I did and continue to attend as many Forest Preserve events all over the county as I could, including some of my favorites, the Maple Sugaring Days, an excellent class if they ever do it again. I think Pam's retiring this week, but an excellent class on fermentation and food. Of course, trek with the naturalist, and my favorite, the senior strolls, but many more as well. I have attended and represented the Kane County Forest Preserve at the IAPD conference annually, and represented the KFPD at nearly all IACFPD. That is one I'll get sooner or later. Illinois Association of Conservation Foundations and Park Districts. That's right, isn't it? Close enough. All right. Which is a group of the executive directors and presidents and officers from each of the counties, forest preserves, and conservation districts that meet quarterly, I think it is, something like that. During my tenure, I have worked directly to communicate with agencies and organizations, including the Conservation Foundation, as mentioned before, the IAPD, the IACFPD, Friends of the Fox River Ecosystem Partners, and the township presidents, which we presented to, and personnel from county forest preserves and conservation districts and villages, park districts, and the Kane and Kendall County Council of Mayors. I have also done my best to listen and respond to everything our constituents and board members have shared with me. I don't want to imply that I've done everything perfectly up to this point, but I think I've made a very balanced, but I think we have made very balanced progress with both traditional forest preserve activities like restoring prairie, planting trees, removing invasive species, and promoting outdoor activities and water sports, and special recreation activities like golf and baseball, all while being fiscally responsible and responsive to the public. I think it's a testament to what we've accomplished as a board of the past 4 years and how important it is to the supporters of open space and a healthy environment. And those, you have met some of those today. I am proud to have contributed in my small way serving as president, but most of the really hard work has been done by our dedicated staff and our small army of volunteers. I try to measure my own contributions not in personal short gain, but as a small part of the important work that began almost 100 years ago with some strong, foresighted farmers' wives at Johnson's Mound, who created the first of the #1, they used to call it, #1 forest preserve. And I will continue, and the small part of that, which started 100 years ago and will continue for the next 100 years and beyond. Again, bending the arc. What will we accomplish in the next few years? Well, that's really up to all of you. But if you reelect me as president, I will work as hard as I can to make sure that you, the board members, and our constituents will have a voice in what that is. And I will continue to put all my energies into making it happen for the nature and future generations of Kane County. And of course, we don't absolutely know what's going to happen. Good luck, Mr. Leonard. But whatever we do, I say we have.
Thank you, Mr. Caius.
Those are really good ones.
Wonder what he was doing there.
First time, isn't it? 4.
I do it, it all kind of lands on my lap or my desk.
Easy cleanup, though. I'm sure it's ecologically sound. Floor is
Okay,
back to
no,
you.
we'll now turn it over to Mr. Leonard for your statement.
Thank you, Ben. First of all, I'd like to say to everybody on this commission, most of you have known me for 2 years or better. For the 3 new members, I apologize. I haven't really gotten to know you very well yet, but I look forward to working with you. But I think everyone else will agree that I am a fiscal conservative. I want to watch how we spend our money. I want to make sure that we're careful with it and that we do certain things and prioritize some. Currently, I have no other chairmanships on the county, so I feel I have the time to devote as much time as needed to help the Forest Preserve move ahead. I'd like to thank Ben and his management and staff for all they've done. I think the transition from Monica Myers to Ben has been seamless, and I think the staff does a great job. So I want to thank them for all the work they've done and that they will continue to do. Secondly, I'd like to thank the firm that ran the referendum for us and got it passed. They've done it in the past. They've done it throughout the country, and they're a very good firm, obviously. They do a very efficient job. So I want to thank them for all their help, and to all the volunteers and the people on the commission that also helped get it passed. One of the things that I'm very concerned with is that we pay our employees fairly. You know, we've added a lot of land over the last 10 years since I've been on the commission. We've found that the pay grades were below average, and we've worked to improve those, and we're continuing to improve those. And I want to make sure that all the employees are paid fairly for a number of reasons. It's the right thing to do, number one. And number two, it also helps us from a business standpoint that we reduce turnover, and turnover can be very expensive and time consuming. So that is one thing that I'm very adamant about. The second thing that I'm very concerned with is Settlers Hill, the golf course. In the last few years, we spent over $7 million renovating that. Unfortunately, the management team that we had in there maintaining it really allowed our asset to depreciate. Fortunately, we now have a new management company coming in that is promising to get it back up to the standard it should be. And I think that will not only help in the value of our asset, but also in the revenue that is generated from this asset. So one of the things I would like to do is make sure that we stay on top of this new management firm. We have options in the contract that we can get out of it if they don't perform as they have promised to. And I think that's something that we really have to put a priority on. And that is something that I'm heavily involved in. I know a lot of people in the golf industry, and I'm very happy that we have a new management crew in there running it. So I'm going to stay on top of that. The third thing that I want to mention is I think I'm a big supporter of the Kane County Cougars. A few years ago, I didn't know if I was or if I wasn't. And I think a lot of that was really I came to that conclusion because what had happened was from 2014 until the current time, the rental payments on the stadium had gone from approximately $1 million down to 500,000. And now there are rumors that there is a request to also lower the payments again. I will not allow those payments to be reduced because we are paying each and every year on the bond $610,000. So we're losing $110,000 a year on that program. However, in a few short years, that bond will be paid off. And then all the additional monies coming in will be things we can use to help our employees buy additional acreage, improve equipment and maintenance. So I think it's very important that we look at that and that we make sure that we stand firm on the contract. I feel contracts are signed and people have to agree to fulfill their end of the contract. So I would not ever consider reducing the rental payment. And I think keeping it at 500,000 will do a couple of things. Not only will it keep us close to breaking even in the remaining years on the contract, on our bond contract, but it will also give us additional monies down the road that we can use to help pay for employee salaries, do whatever we want. And I do not want us in any way, shape, or form to use the $3.1 million we have in reserve right now to pay off that bond. So it's important that we maintain the relationship. I was very pleased to hear that the Cougars this year had a record-breaking attendance. So their revenues are up. They have special events, which also create a tremendous amount of revenue. So I think the 500,000 that they have to pay is very fair and very obtainable for them. So that is one thing that I'm pretty adamant about. With respect to my fellow commissioners, I'd like to ask you to vote for me. Whether you vote for me or not, I want to thank you for the consideration. And whoever is elected, I think whether it's Chris or myself, we will do whatever we can to make sure that the Forest Reserve continues to thrive and do the great job it has for years. And most of that can be attributed to the great staff we have. So that's basically all I want to say at this point. I thank you for the consideration and I hope you'll vote for me.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we will begin to take a tally here. If you just well, it'll be a voice vote. If you just want to state the last name, either Leonard or Caius, that's how we'll keep track. I think we're ready to call the roll.
So roll call vote for Mr. Caius.
No, you're gonna go through.
Either one.
and
Either one.
Yeah,
just the
they'll
one
make a
vote.
selection. but
Okay.
each
All right, just the one
cast
vote.
their
Okay.
vote that way.
Nope, no problem.
You make comments before the vote?
The chair, Ben, could allow comments from the floor.
Oh, yeah. Is there a comment? Comments before the vote at all?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know, Jerry, comments before the vote from other commissioners?
You're the chair, so
So
you
allowed.
have the.
So for everyone, this, you know, when you go to Thanksgiving dinner and you're like, do we talk about this with all the relatives that are here? This is just one of the most uncomfortable yet wonderful situations in the world. Do we want to vote for Uncle Chris or Uncle Bill to run our pride and joy? Because when you sit there and you go out to the community and people say,
what do y'all do at the county level? Well, it's really tough to say, yeah, I sit on this committee and we worked on a blah, blah, blah. But when you say you're a forest preserve commissioner, people take notice. And I don't know other areas that struggle with budgets the way we do, but we've gone to referendum multiple times to say, let's buy land. And we bought the land, but we didn't give money to operate with. So we went out again and said, let's operate. And then our fearless leader retired and a young stallion came aboard and we didn't even miss a beat. And everything looks great and we're going in the right direction. And then hit the brakes and here's a speed bump. Do you want this uncle or that uncle? And you love them both. So this is really uncomfortable in so many ways. And I want to acknowledge that, yet at the same time say, what a wonderful problem to have. And gentlemen, we wish you both the very best of luck on what happens. And we have so many tenuous things that we've actually done. This notion of removing a dam, whoa, are you kidding me? We still don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but, and for every 100 people that say that's wrong, you got 100 people saying, woo, yay, thank you. We'll see where it goes. And now a baseball diamond and now this or that. And I openly admit that I have enough confidence in you guys and Becky Gillum from my area up north who serves on the foundation that I don't even come to the Forest Preserve meetings and have always been supportive of everything you guys do. Ben and Gabby, thank you so much. And I know this is uncomfortable for everybody, but for what it's worth, you know, I hope in 10 minutes, we're all singing Kumbaya and, you know, we walk away. So
Very good.
thank you all.
I'll second
Thank you,
that.
Mr. Sturgis.
From the heart, Cliff, from the heart.
Any other comments before the vote? All right, thank you. Here we go.
Allen,
Alan Caius.
Bates,
Bates Caius.
Berman,
Kern Kyles.
Doherty,
Berman.
What?
I'm sorry.
Bill Leonard.
Thank you. Garcia,
Garcia Caius.
Grape,
Leonard,
Gums,
Gums, you're on mute.
Gums, are you there? Iqbal,
Leonard.
Juby,
Juby Leonard.
do they vote for themselves? Caius, do they vote for themselves?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Certainly.
Caius.
Certainly.
Leonard,
Lewis,
Leonard.
Linder,
Leonard.
Molina,
Molina Caius.
Hennessis,
Penesis Caius.
Roth,
Leonard.
Sanchez,
Sanchez Caius.
Strathman,
Strathman Caius.
Sturgis, Tarver,
Present.
Present.
Pepe,
Tepe Caius.
Williams,
Williams Leonard.
Young,
Leonard.
$11.
Myrna vote?
10. She did. Gums.
I count 11 to 9.
Within one, so
So I have 11 to 10.
we got Miss Molina's vote. We didn't get Miss Gums.
she was on a minute ago.
Blair, do you know if there's any reason she can't unmute?
To the doctor.
Leonard, 11, Caius, 10.
Okay, in that case, we have 11 votes for Mr. Leonard and 10 votes for Mr. Caius. Please join me in congratulating Mr. Bill Leonard, new president of the Forest.
Got to change my license plate.
And with that, President Leonard, you finish out the meeting.
Oh, I will. Sorry about that.
He wants that.
You want your computer over there?
Yeah. that'd be
Bear with us just 1 minute as I abdicate authority to the president of the force. That closes the president.
So we are just, we're here, so we've closed, closing statement. There's no closed session for today, so just communications with.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to thank everybody for their vote. I promise everyone that I will try to be fair with everyone and that will move this forest preserve ahead as it has over the last 20+ years. At this point, are there any communications?
I do have some. Hold on a minute.
I messed up something.
Question, are there a need for closed session?
No need for closed session.
Thank you.
Okay, if no communications.
We have some, yeah. Laura.
Oh, Lori does. I'm sorry, Lori.
Sorry about that. Well, trouble with the computer today. As part of communications, we usually highlight some of the nature programs and things we have coming up around the Forest Preserve District. And so we are offering a Polar Palooza Festival for families on January 18th at Creek Bend Nature Center, part of Leroy Oaks Forest Preserve. It's been described to me as a Chuck E. Cheese, but for nature. So bear that in mind. Next up, we have a 100-year challenge starting on January 1st, and this is to get people out and about in the preserves and more involved in our activities, and you'll see information about that online and in the tree line. And last, I'm not going to go through all of these, but just here are some of the upcoming programs that we have. These are all, again, in the tree line and on our website at kaneforest.com. And then the last thing I had was we are planning a new commissioner orientation. So watch your email for that. We are hoping for January 17th, but just crossing some I's and dotting some T's on that. So mid-January, watch your email for the new commissioner orientation, and all the commissioners are welcome. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Lori, very much. Looking for a unanimous consent to put the reports on file.
Roth would request unanimous consent.
Any objections? Seeing none, they're placed on file. And finally, I need a motion to adjourn.
Later.
Lindner will move to adjourn.
Roth will second.
Roth will